those abs. Ah. Can you guess what we're gonna do today? We're gonna do a body review. Hey guys, so I'm back, and I've got Naked 7 here. Doll Toast asked if I would do a body review on the Switch 65cm body, which is the one that Sev has right now. Anyway, Doll Toast, congratulations on your Soseo. It's a really handsome sculpt. Like, from one Soseo owner to another, like, Soseos are really cool and they're great. So congratulations on that. I've never done a body review before and I haven't handled a ton of dolls before, but I'm gonna try my best to be as informative as possible about this body. This body has been around for a while. This particular one was made in 2013, so if you really want, you could also watch other people's videos, and like if you watch all of our body review videos, you'll probably get a pretty good idea of how this body works. And yeah, because this is a body review, there will be some doll nudity. If that bothers you, just, you know, letting you know. Although, I don't know, I've got doll nudity in like a ton of my other videos, and sometimes I forget to put a disclaimer, so. Anyway, yeah. So I guess I'll go from top to bottom and explain like what's going on here. So Sev's head cap is just a normal head cap. Ooh, it's got really strong magnets. So I don't know if Switch's head caps still have super strong magnets, but this one is really hard. Yeah. Oh. So this is the head, and the thing I noticed about the Switch body is that his head doesn't move that much. It can't go very far up, like at all up. This is as up as the head will go, which is not very far. He can kind of go side to side-ish. He doesn't super want to tilt his head around, but you know, kind of goes. He can look down pretty good, but he like will constantly look down. I think out of all directions that this head goes, it looks down like that the most. This is the most common head position for him. I don't know, his head rests there a lot. If I like move him around too much or play with his other, like his legs or something, it'll like make the stringing push his head down for some reason, I don't know. So there's that. The shoulders are pretty normal. They do all the normal things shoulder joints do. They're not super spectacular, like they don't hold super well. I've sueded them with glue, so maybe if you like use real suede, or like maybe if I put more glue in there they would hold better, but they're not super great. They're good enough, but yeah, there's no notches or anything to keep the arms in there. Elbow joints are pretty standard. They bend at 90 degrees and they kind of, I had a problem with this when I first got him. He wouldn't, like his elbow wouldn't stay double jointed like this. It would keep slipping. But after I restrung him, it seems to work just fine now. So yeah, that's the double jointed thing. Oh, see, this arm is doing the weird thing. There we go. So yeah, he can touch his face. That's the thing that happens. Wrist joint is just a ball with the wrist. It doesn't move super far. Oh, well, if you pop it out, it moves super far, but it has a tendency to slip, so I guess you could suede that, but not a lot of side to side. Kind of a little bit. Up and down, up, down. Doesn't want to stay, but there's that. For the torso joint, this is what it looks like when he's standing up, at his most standing upness. He kind of has like a very slouchy chest, like when even at like the basic upward position, it's very slouchy, and like I think it's because his neck and shoulders kind of curve down like that, which works for my Soseo because he's it suits him to be kind of slumped all the time. But if that's not what your character is really like, then I don't know, maybe this is not a good body for you, because I don't know, that's like the main thing that I've noticed about this body is it looks very slouchy and like laid back. So there's that. He has another peg on his joint that makes him slouch forward just a little bit more. So extra slouching for you. Hip joint, it's kind of annoying. It doesn't really do a lot. Like this is him slouching a little more using the hip joint. I mean, I guess you could pop it out, but it doesn't really do a lot. It's kind of annoying because when I'm trying to like make him sit, he'd rather bend like that than he would bend at the waist joint or the hip sockets. So that's kind of annoying because then I'm like, sit child, and then he does this weird back breaking thing. As far as hip joint goes, it's kind of your usual hip joint socket thing. He's got like a little lip on the back side of the joint, which allows the leg to kind of hook into the, so that he'll like sit. So I mean, when he's sitting down on a flat surface, it's pretty good because it keeps him from sliding backwards. So I mean, there's that. He's a pretty good sitter, I will admit. He's got the little mobility joint type of things, although it doesn't really rotate. It's just more for like the, if you want him to bend his leg there, so if you could do this type of leg action. Oh. Okay, well it's hard to fiddle with right now, but that's what it's for, like when you want him to pull his knees up to his chest. Yeesh. Yeesh. Okay. Oh, he's all getting all over the place. But his knee joint is pretty good. I actually like these knee joints because when he bends his knees, it looks very natural looking. Okay, this is what I'm talking about with the hip thing. You have to like make sure you get each hip very carefully because then he'll bend at the waist. Oh. But his knees are like, they look really good. I actually really like these knees. They look very smooth and natural, like from the side and everything. They're pretty good knees. So I like that part. There's like a lip on them so they don't slip and everything. So he looks pretty good when he's sitting down. He's got double jointed knees. If I can pull this out. It kind of just pulls out and whoop, and kind of does this type of deal. Ooh. Where it's not like a straight flat across, which I like how it's like they tried to curve it a little bit. So I mean, it's not the most natural looking thing, but it's pretty good. I probably won't have his knees bent that much anyway, but if that's what you're looking for, that's what it does. And then for the feet, there's no side to side at all because of the way the ankle, well, okay, there's a little bit, but because of the way the ankles are sculpted, there's not a lot of that. And then he can point his toes pretty good. And that's about all his feet really do. Oh, his legs are coming out. I restrung him, but maybe I didn't do that great of a job. I don't know. He does weird things. Let's see. That's kind of how all the joints go. I guess pretty standard. The main things that bother me personally are like how he doesn't really look around very good. He can really look down and that's kind of it. He doesn't really like to look anywhere else. And this hip joint is like super weird. I wish it wasn't there. It doesn't do anything really that great. But he also like has this natural slouch to his chest like all the time. You can kind of pull him back to be like this, but I mean that looks okay for like it as like this curve looks natural, but I wouldn't keep him like this for a long time because it looks kind of weird. So yeah. So yeah, he has a very S-shaped body, so like from the side it's very S-shaped, and the slouchiness works for 7 as a character, but it might be annoying if you're not looking for that for your Soseo. And yeah, that's pretty much everything. I mean, well, okay, another thing I noticed about this body is that it's got kind of like a thickness to it. Like, it feels very like wide, and the wrists are not very narrow, so that's something that kind of bothered me, is how thick the wrist is. But it's not that big of a deal. So, yeah, that's everything that I can think of about this body. If you have any questions or like anything that you want to tell me that I forgot to mention, or something that I did wrong or didn't know how to do with this body, just let me know in the comments, and I hope that this helps you decide, Doll Toast, if you want to go after this body or want to pick another type of body that might work. So yeah, that's pretty much everything. Thank you for watching. Bye. Oh, look at him. He's just like, what even?